What's up out there, YouTube? Double D here with Tournage Du Bois. Welcome back. It is Monday, so I cast this last week, let it set over the weekend for the full 72 hours in the pressure pot at 60 psi, and it's Monday evening. Now, I'm not going to be out here in the shop very long. We are in a severe thunderstorm and tornado watch for about the next 6.5, 7 hours. But before the storms really roll in, I wanted to get out here and get this demolded. So let's take a look at this piece, and then tomorrow evening we're going to start turning it and get rolling on it. So let's check it out. All right, so it is here in the bucket. I'm not going to spoil any surprises. Just going to flip this over. All right, and with a few mighty whacks and some air pressure, we got it out. So let's see what it looks like. All right, so it is a little bit translucent. You can see through that. Like I said, it is a little translucent. You can see through it, but there is definitely a red to black color shift depending on where it is in the light. So I'm really excited about it. I don't mind that it's a little translucent. You can see the wood through it, which is cool. Most of this was going to have to come off anyway to level it off, so I'm perfectly happy with this little bit that's sticking up. But we're going to get this on the lathe. We're going to get a tenon turned on this end, and then we'll get to shaping it, get it flipped around, and then work to hollow it out. And here's some of that color shift, so you can see the red right in here with the light hitting it. And you turn it this way, it looks jet black, red. Just really excited with this color. I wish I had more of the mica powder to put in it for a thicker pigment, but that's okay. We got this going. All right, so I have that mounted in between centers. I'm using the bottom of the bucket, of course, as my center point on the bottom. We're actually super close to that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this rough rounded. I'm gonna get a tenon turned on this end so I can get it flipped around, and then we'll do all the rest of the shaping. So that'll be one of the first things I do, and it's gonna be done relatively soon in the process. So we will knock this one out. Because this is resin, I will be using my full respirator. So there won't be tons and tons of talking through this, just so you know. But I will stop from time to time and give updates as I can. Now, those of you who have been watching my channel for a long time, you know I started out with the carbide tools and moved into, well, I started out with some traditional tools, got frustrated, went to all carbides, got a lot of confidence, and then went back to the traditional tools. So this being a resin hybrid piece, I'm going to be using the negative rake scrapers almost exclusively, especially get finish. Now on the inside with the hollowing, I do have regular carbides with the new hollowing setup from Trent Bosch that I will be using, but I'll have those at a little bit of a negative rake angle. So that'll be helping, and then the inside I'll use my scraper to cut that out. So I kind of left a ring here. That's kind of my target goal for the opening on this piece. So I'm going to do a little bit of sanding on this, not a ton, but we'll do that, and then we will get to hollowing. Now I am planning on doing a resin clear coat finish on this, so I don't have to do a ton of sanding. I'll be able to just sand it at one grit basically, and get that basically smoothed out. I want to get rid of all the big ridges and things, because then that resin clear coat will go on it and finish it nicely and smoothly and nice and shiny with the color. So quick show of hands, how many of you want to see what this might look like when it's done? Well, I know I do. So little denatured alcohol, clean it up just a little bit, and take a look. Well, the graining is beautiful. That color, we'll have to see once we get a finish on it. It looks a little dark right now, but I can see the color light in it, and it could just be the lighting in my shop. But I think it's going to look absolutely amazing. All these scratches will be filled in with the clear resin when we put that clear resin on it. Let's go to the end and see what it looks like. See if that light will help it a little bit. Oh wow, look at those reds going through there. I think that's going to look super, super amazing. Get the little hints of red. It's a little translucent, so you get some of the wood color through it as well. I think that's going to look great. Really excited about this one. Well, let's get to hollowing. I will do some more touch-up sanding on the outside when I'm ready. But as for now, let's get to hollowing. All right, so I will widen that up just a little bit. So yeah, I will widen that up just a little bit so I can get the Forstner a bit further down in there, and we'll go from there. Right now I am almost halfway down, so we've got a ways to go, but if I widen that up a bit, then we'll be able to get the Forstner a bit further in, get that hollowed out more, and then get to the hollowing system. So I won't make you watch all of that, but we'll get to where I'll bring you back when we start hollowing. All right, we have my hook nose scraper set up. You can see that outline right there. That's the outline of the mark, right at 1/4 inch. So that's how thick I want to go. I do have it set up as a negative rake on this piece. That way it will cut a little cleaner inside, then we'll use the scraper on the other part. So we'll get to hollowing. I won't show you a whole lot of this because it's hard to see, but we will definitely show parts. So when I say I have this at a negative rake, this is at an angle. You can see this isn't touching at all down here, but it is touching here where we get to this part. So that's why I have the tool rest back a little bit further. We're just going to go in. This gives me the leverage. I can move that around if I need to change angles. However, I want to stay away from rubbing on this edge here. So I'm going to keep it here and just slowly work the inside portion of that, clear that out, and then start working my way further down, and we will get this all hollowed out. Now I am not being super aggressive with these cuts because one, it's not a negative rate carbide, but two, I don't have a steady rest yet that will work with this lathe. So I just don't want to throw it off or cause any issues with it. I will say, having it at this negative rate, I'm not getting a lot of chip out inside here, so that's a good thing. With the regular carbide on resin pieces, you get a lot of chip out, and I'm not getting that at all. So really happy with this negative rake the way I have it set up. And I'll put a link to Trent's channel right up here in the corner. He has some really good walkthroughs on how to use the tool, some tutorials. So that's where I watched a lot of those when I decided that this was the route I was going to take. So definitely go check him out if you're looking at getting a hollowing system. This is definitely a good option, so go check it out. All right, so we have that all hollowed out. I didn't show a whole lot of that, like I said. We are going to sand the inside, got a nice smooth cut inside with the scraper. Left the walls a little thicker, just because I wanted to have a little bit of heft to it. But we will get this sanded, and then we will start the finish process of the piece. All right, so we're gonna work on the resin clear coat. I'm gonna use one of the cups that Let's Resin sent me. Has measurements on here. Obviously they are approximate, but that's gonna be close enough. And then we're gonna use their clear epoxy resin for the casting. So this is what I use for their little handles. So this stuff works great. It's gonna be a 1-to-1 mix, part A to part B. So I'll put in about 1 fluid ounce of part A, then another fluid ounce of part B. Obviously that's going to be more than I absolutely have to have. Then we'll get that applied and let that go overnight and run and set. So let's get to mixing, and I'll be right back. So as you can see, that is not very clear. So we'll just mix it. Now the viscosity on the Let's Resin, I'm really happy with it. It does not ingest or create a lot of air bubbles. Now it is beneficial to stir slowly, of course. We have a long working window with this. We have about 40 minutes or so, give or take, if we have to have it, which is great if you're mixing several colors together, things like that. Since this is clear, I'm not going to worry. As you can see, it is starting to clear up. Still have a little bit of swirling right down here in the bottom. And the other benefit is stirring just one direction will minimize air bubbles as well. But like I said in the last video where I cast this using their deep pour, they have a lot of tools available as well. So they have resin stirrers that you can put the resin into a cup and put it under the stirrer, and it will just stir it for a while. They have tools or accessories that will allow you to work the air bubbles out, like a small vacuum chamber to pull air bubbles out of these. All sorts of cool things. So use the link if you're interested in looking at any of their stuff. Use the link in the video down below. So if you're interested in looking at any of their products, trying their resin, etc., use the link in the description down below. That will get you the access directly to their store through Amazon. You'll be able to see all the things that they have. The initial link will take you to the deep pour, but if you go up to the top there and click on the Let's Resin store, it will take you to their entire store inventory. Plus, if you use that link, then this channel, I get a little bit of a commission from them on that for referring people over. So if that's something you would like to try, by all means, please do so. As you can see, that is really, really clear. No streamers. So it's pretty well mixed. I am going to let it set for a few minutes before we start applying it. The lathe is going to be running at its lowest speed, which is approximately 20 RPM, and it will run that way until this all cures up. So it'll be tomorrow morning before that cures up. But I'll put this on. I will spread it around. I will get a nice even coat, and then I will use a torch to pop any bubbles that pop up and go from there. All right, I have my little spatula that I use for spreading the resin. I'm going to turn this lathe on, put it down to its lowest speed possible. So it's running 20 RPM. That's one thing I love about this Rikon is the low speed. It goes anywhere from 20 RPM all the way up to 4,000 RPM. So I'm always happy with how the variation that it offers. We're just start applying this and spread it around, and then we will add more to it as we need to. Slowly work it back and forth. I keep this held at an angle because it allows me to move all the material, the excess. Got my torch, so as light passes, pop any bubbles that may have risen. Don't want to stay too long in one spot because you definitely don't want to scorch the resin clear coat. Hopefully you can see that red that's popping up as it spins. Then it fades to that black with that color shift. So really excited about how this looks. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that project where we took that piece of spalted hackberry and turned our hollow form. So here is the finished piece. I did the resin clear coat finish on this 3 times. The first time bubbled up just a little bit. The second time was a little splotchy, so knocked them both back and then redid it and then put 2 coats on for the finals. So the first one went on good. Went and did a second one just for that final look. Really happy with how this turned out. Let's change angles so you can see some of the color. So hopefully this is going to come out okay, but you get that red. I need to dust it and clean it real good, which I will before my show. You get that red with a little bit of a black color shift, so depending on the angle, it's almost a deep purple. So it's a little more translucent than I normally like, but I think it gives it a little bit of depth as you can kind of see into the colored section, even through some places. In some areas where it's relatively transparent. But at any rate, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I do need to put the finish on the bottom and get it laser engraved. But overall, I'm really happy with how this piece has turned out in this finished coat. So once again, I want to give a big thank you to Let's Resin. Use their link if you're wanting to try some resin. Use their link that's down below in the description. Give it a try. I'm really happy with it. I think it's turned out great. It turns beautifully, has a great finish coat on it. Super happy with them. So thank you a lot for that. For the color Red Rum, I'm a big fan of the movie The Shining. So that's one of my all-time favorite psychological movies. But at any rate, that color is absolutely beautiful. So thank you to Eye Candy Pigment for having that out there for me to see and fall in love with and try with this. I've got a little bit more left. I'll probably end up having to order some more because I think it's amazing color. At any rate, if this is your first time here, please do consider subscribing. If you like the video, give it the thumbs up. If not, give it that thumbs down. But either way, leave your comments, feedback down below, because I appreciate them, I read them, and that's how I grow. At any rate, we're going to just keep on keeping on with our projects, working towards our art show and other things that are going on, and we will catch you all next time.